Welcome back, Nick Lenz movie review, episode number 87. This one reviewing the 17th Bond film ever released, and the first of four Pierce Brosnan films as James Bond. Goldeneye, released in 1995. Interesting things about this film. First, it's the first one without Cubby Broccoli as a producer. Though he listed as a consulting producer, but as not the main producer. Yeah, his stepson and his daughter have taken over a producer role for these films, starting with this film forward. And I also forgot to mention this in the last video, that License to Kill was the last film Kelly Brockett actually produced himself. Yes. And with this film, you have a completely new direction. And it's kind of like ignoring some stuff from the last film, though they kind of acknowledge. They don't really mention anything. Yep. And this film was directed by Martin Campbell. Yes, his first of two. Yes, two James Bond films he ever directed. And believe it or not, he also directed the very first Dan Craig film, Casino. I'll talk about that in a future review. Yep. And this film has the date. Now, this film was noteworthy for having a Bond girl, well, technically a Bond girl, these two never slept together, where she's a femme fatale, and yet she's had a successful career after this film. Yeah, it seems like whenever women appear in Bond films, a lot of the time they don't have successful careers. This woman did. Frankie Jameson, who played Zinovia Onatop. Yeah, a Russian. This woman has had a very successful career since this film, most famously playing Jean Grey of the X movies. Very well, mind you. Yep. Now, we have this film. We have, well, not only Pierce Brosnan's first time he plays the character James Bond. We have Sean Bean and Alec Trevelyan, who was actually 006. We have Isabel Sorova as Natalia Samovia. She, of course, this is her only film she ever did, because after this film, she never acted ever again. It's not because she had suffered the Bond curse. No, she rather continued her career as a model and be a mother. That's basically the gist of it. Yep. We also have a character named Jack Way appears in the previous film by John the Baker. We have a new M played by Dame Judi Dench. Her first of 7 films she's in as M. Yes, first of 7. And they have a wonderful introduction sequence where it's like, where they also introduce Bill Tanner, this film, like Michael Kitchen appears in this film, and it was not enough. And even like one thing, he's like, yeah, too bad the evil queen never was let you play that card. And standing right behind her, right behind him, is a new M, Judi Dench. It's just like, if you want sarcasm, I'll talk to my children that way. Which makes it probably the only M basically nowhere to be a parent. Yep. Yeah. And the other villains in this film are, well, we have a new Moneypenny played by Samantha Bond. Yes. Who, like Pierce Brosnan, was in 4 films. And that was it. Desmond returns as Q, obviously, in his third to last appearance he appeared in the films, because he died in the Pierce Brosnan last film. We also have Demetria Musky, I think his name is. Yeah. We also have Boris, played by Alan Cumming. Yeah, first of 2 films I could think of where he's with Frankie Jameson. Believe it or not, deal with the next time these two in a film together, a film called X2 X-Men United, where she's playing Jean Grey, and who is Alan Cumming play? Nightcrawler! Yes, the teleporter. A role that he hated wearing the makeup for. Yes, seriously. He loved playing the character, he hated wearing damn makeup. Yep. Let's see. Yeah. We also introduced Valentin Savosky, who, believe it or not, is a character who appears in this film, and The War Is Not Enough. Yep. Now, the story with this film is this. Okay. The film starts out, if you ever played the Goldeneye video game, this pretty much is the opening scene of that video game, very first level. You have somebody, later revealed to be James Bond, jumping off top of a dam. jumps down, and ends up in a bathroom. Ends up in the men's room, and he's like, sorry. Of course, he basically appears behind a guy, I think it's a Russian, who's very much going number two. He says, sorry, forgot to knock. He punches him right in the face. I thought it was so funny. And he's like, basically a team with 006, playing explosive of this particular base. And then apparently he's killed. Of course, he's captured. He's like, Alec, there's a draft. He's like, turns around, he's like, oh, Alec's been captured. He apparently is killed, though he later will be alive anyways. And then he decides to do something really weird. Okay, he basically gets away after a brief gun battle with this Russian general who was one of the villains of the film. He steals a plane, and then we go to the opening credits. Come back to the credits, and we have the infamous Goldeneye sequence. Yeah, well, later on, let's see. Then we have her, and of course, it's implied that the opening takes place in 1986, which means it takes place just before the event's License to Kill, and then of course next scene, like right afterwards. Then we have him basically driving around his Aston Martin DB5 with a MI6, let's just say psychiatrist, to say, just driving around, and they stop right in front of London, and then he proceeds to make out with her. Yep, basically Bond beds his first woman. A little into the movie. He's just Natalia at this Russian satellite facility in the middle of Siberia. And we also have Zinovy Onatop shows up. And she proceeds with Omarov, proceeds to gun down a bunch of technicians. All while having an orgasm. I'm not kidding about this. If you watch the scene, she acts like she's having an orgasm. I know this is basically sort of inappropriate to say this, but yes, it's basically she's acting like she's having sex. She's getting off on killing people. Yeah, and this woman also is known for killing people. She's shown later doing this, where she has sex with a Canadian admiral, where she kills him by strangling him with her thighs. Yes. Yep, and of course that leads to stealing the helicopter. Of course, Bond suspecting they actually got killed. Of course, Bond suspecting it was stolen, even though probably they don't think it was. And then they go out and basically meet Zukovsky. Appears in one scene. Then, of course, he appears later on in the rest of the film series. Oh yeah, how Jack Wade's introduced, basically he just walked over a car. Of course, they show him the tattoo on his butt. I'm like, why? It's particularly very odd. And they get along pretty well. I'm sure a lot of people who are longtime fans of the series were thinking, okay, why couldn't they bring back Felix Leiter for this movie? No, seriously, there was no reason why they could bring back Felix Leiter. Why in the world are they bringing this character Jack Wade? It really makes no sense at all. Yeah, then, of course, then they meet up with Janice, who will be Alec, who's got a burn mark on his face. Yeah, apparently this guy, his parents were killed, like, when they apparently were crossing the border by the British at the end of World War II. So Alec is probably an old man. They don't really say how old he is in this particular scene. Nope. It could have been his grandparents. Nope, they had to say it's his parents. For some reason, I don't know why, but they did. Yep. Then the correspondent gets knocked out, wakes up in the stolen helicopter with Natalia, who gets taken. Yep. And of course, he's able to escape. And then they proceed to, well, do whatever. And then she gets taken again. Right? Yeah, and of course, Bond's taken to a Russian detention center, and of course, he gets framed for murder. And then he gets out. Then, of course, Natalia, of course, he breaks the facility while also participating in the very good gun battle sequence. But basically, you would say this for the final act. Yeah, then he goes after Natalia basically gets taken to a train with the red star on it. And how does it get there? Now, when people talk about Goldeneye, what's the most memorable scene in the whole film? Is it the attack in the opening sequence? Is it the end of the film? No. It's Bond driving through Moscow in a tank. Yes, plowing down a bunch of cars. I'm not sure he may have killed somebody. Of course, he's firing the thing off, trying to get there, and then he takes up and he goes on the train, kills Omarov. He kills him. He gets killed very silly. He gets falls into something. That's how he kills him. Of course, Boris escapes, and of course, they have this strange password. It's like you sit on it, and you can take it with you. And of course, he thinks it's their butt. Nope. And of course, everybody can figure out that it's chair. And Bond says chair. It's like, okay. Check. And he goes to Cuba, and then they fly to Cuba. Also, when they introduce the car in the film, it's seen 2 scenes, and it does nothing. Apparently, from what I heard, that there was stuff they were going to shoot for the film, but was cut. They go to Cuba, and of course, meet with Jack Wade. He does jack frickin' squat. Kind of like how what Jack Lurch Felix Leiter did in Doctor No. And they find the place. Well, they drive around. Of course, they fly a plane, and then they get to a place and they proceed to have sex while near a beach. And they go find the place, and then they run to Zobody on top, where they have a brief bow. So and of course she tells Natalia, it's like, after with him, you're next. And then Bond just takes her gun, shoots the pilot, basically has her strapped in the harness. Then she's killed in the most awkward way possible. She's killed by crushed between a tree. And then Bond says, she always did enjoy a good squeeze. Then they find Alex's base, not much a problem. Of course, Natalia gets kidnapped, taken captive, with Bond. And also, they introduce this gadget, the exploding pen. Yes, the exploding pen. Which Boris plays around with it, oh yeah, click, 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 and of course, he's yelling at Natalia, Natalia, tell me the code. And he goes, Bond just throws it. Of course, a bunch of explosions, and of course, the place blows up. Oh, in case you're wondering, what's Alex's plan? Cause a financial meltdown in the UK for revenge. Yep. Then, of course, Bond has battle with him basically on top of this base. He falls down. Well, of course, this doesn't kill him. His own base kills him. And of course, he takes Natasha to make out. And then, of course, Marines show up, and that's it. Yeah. It's a really good film to watch, and it's a nice nod to, if you're going with the title comes from, it comes from not from one of Ian Fleming's stories, but it's from his house in Jamaica. Yes, he has a house named the Goldeneye Estate. Yep. So yeah, great film. For some people think, I don't know why, I think this is, of the 4 Pierce Brosnans, I think this is the only good one. No, the next 2 films are good. I'll talk about the 4th film later, but next movie review for this series, I'll talk about the first I saw in theaters, Tomorrow Never Dies. Yep. But Goldeneye, really good film. Yeah, by far one of the best films of the whole series. And yes, I do agree, it's one of the best films of the whole series, and it's fantastic. And it's a modern-day Cold War film, which is quite interesting. And it's the first one shot in Russia. Yes, it's the first one ever to do this. And it's just basically a blast watching this film. Even though I haven't seen it in a little while, but it's a very memorable movie to watch. I mean, it's a little bit of stuff I forgot to mention, but yeah, awesome film. Highly recommend it if you're a Bond fan, okay? So, that's it for this particular review. My next review I'm going to do, after I watch the new episode of it, review the newest episode of Black Clover along with News Chapter Manga, okay? But see you there. Bye.